ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. My name is Nagaraj, working as a lecturer in Government Polytechnic, Kudligi. Today I am going to discuss about the subject Water Resource Engineering in 5th semester of Civil Engineering. In that Water Resource Engineering, we are going to discuss about the chapter Method of Irrigation and Water Requirement of Crops. In this chapter, we are going to discuss about the irrigation and its necessity, system of irrigation, and difference between the gravity and lift irrigation. Before going to the current session, we are going to recap some of the chapters of previous section. In the previous session, we learned about the runoff and its definition. What are the portion of the runoff? What are the methods to compute the runoff? Runoff coefficient method, empirical formula, and what are the factor affecting the runoff. In this session, what we are going to learn? Here, what is irrigation and its necessity, system of irrigation, gravity irrigation, lift irrigation, difference between the gravity and lift irrigation, what are the advantages and disadvantages of lift irrigation and gravity irrigation. After learning these objectives, what are the outcomes? Learner will be able to know about the definition of irrigation and its necessity. Learner will be able to know about the gravity flow and lift irrigation system and their difference. Learner will be able to know about the perennial irrigation and inundation irrigation. Learner will be able to know about the suitability of system of irrigation. After that, go to the irrigation. What do you mean by irrigation? It is an artificial application of the water to the land as per crop requirement throughout the crop period. What is its necessity? When rainfall is less, we are going to do the irrigation. Next, no uniform rainfall. Next one, growing number of crops during the year, growing perennial crops, growing commercial crops. First we'll see the less rainfall. When total rainfall is less than the requirement for the crops, artificial supply of water is necessary. In such cases, irrigation work should be constructed at the place where more water is available, and then that water is conveyed through some system where water is deficiency. Next necessity is non-uniform rainfall. In some particular area or in some portions, rainfall is not uniform over the crop period. During the early period of crop, rain may come, but no rainwater is available at the end of crop. With this result, either crop yield may be going to reduce or it may be going to die. Altogether, by collection of water during the excess rainfall period, water may be supplied to the crop during the period when there may be a no rainfall. growing number of crops during the year. The rainfall in area may be sufficient to raise only one type of crop during the rainy season, that is for Kharif season, for which no irrigation is required. However, with the provision of irrigation facilities in the area, crop may be raised in their season also, that is in Rabi season. Growing perennial crops. Perennial crops such as sugarcane, etc., which needs more water throughout the year. It can be raised only through provision of irrigation system or facility in that area. Growing commercial crops. The rainfall is sufficient to grow as usual crops, but more water is needed for growing commercial crops, hence irrigation is necessity. Next to scope of irrigation or scope of irrigation science. Scope of irrigation is not limited to application of water to the soil. It deals with the engineering aspects as well as agricultural aspects. Here engineering aspects are listed as follows. First aspect is the storage, diversion or lifting of water. This storage, diversion or lifting of water can be done by constructing some of the dams, barriers, weirs. This lifting of water can be done by the lifting mechanisms. Next, conveyance of water to the field. After storage, you have to convey the water to the field by the storage system. After conveyance of the water to the field, you have to go into application of water to the field through some system. After that, drainage and relieving the water logging area. After continuous application of water to the field, some soil or some area will be get more drainage. It becomes more water logging. This will causing the reduce the yielding capacity and okay, this much. Next, development of water power. These are the engineering aspects. Next, go into type of irrigation system. This irrigation system can be classified as two types, mainly flow irrigation and lift irrigation. This lift irrigation is also called as well irrigation. This flow irrigation is also called as gravity irrigation. This flow irrigation is further classified into perennial irrigation and inundation irrigation. This perennial irrigation further classified into direct irrigation. It's also called as a diversion scheme irrigation. Next one is the storage irrigation. It's also called as a storage scheme irrigation. Next classification is combined storage and diversion scheme irrigation. This is the flow chart of showing the type of irrigation system. First we'll see the direct irrigation system or diversion scheme. Here see this figure showing the direct irrigation system is also called as river canal irrigation system. We are going to divert the water by constructing some weir across the flowing river. See, this is the river through which water is flowing. Across this flowing water, we are going to construct one weir. This, by construction of this weir, the water level in the river going to rise. Either of the two banks of this river, we are going to construct a marginal height of bund. This bund will going to avoid the toppling of water from the river. On upstream side of this diversion works, we are going to provide a canal on right bank as well as left bank. After rising this water is allowed in the canal and passes through the distributors and field through this canal networks. Here also, after passes the water through canal, passes to the distributors and field channels to the field by various network system. This is called as a direct irrigation or river canal irrigation. This is done only when the water is available or rainy season. Next, indirect or storage irrigation. This is also called as reservoir or tank irrigation. See here, this is the river. Across this river, we are going to construct one dam. On upstream side of the dam, there is a creation of the reservoir or lake. Here, water is stored. This water is collected from so many tributaries. Okay. On downstream side of the dam or in the body of the dam, we are going to provide a canal system on either side. This is the right main canal, this is the left main canal through which water is flowing. From this canal, water is allowed to the branch canal, distributary and tail clusters. Here also same, this is the main canal. After from main canal, the water will pass into the distributaries and tail cluster, then finally reaches to the field where irrigation crop is growing. This is called as a indirect or storage irrigation. Third one is the combined storage cum diversion scheme. Here, this is a combination of direct irrigation as well as indirect irrigation. Here, going to construct a dam, or by this construction of dam, we are going to store the water on upstream side of the dam. This is called as a reservoir. Here this water is going to use for production of the or generation of the electricity. After generation of the electricity, the water is allowed through the same river in the downstream side of river. At some distance on downstream side of the river, we are going to construct a weir. This is the direct system of irrigation. What will you do here? We are going to raise the water level in the river. That raised water is allowed through the canal provided on either side. This is the right bank canal, this is the left bank canal. From canal system network, this water is allowed to the field to grow the crops. Here also from this canal system is allowed to the water is allowed to the distributaries and field channel to grow the crops. Next one is a inundation or flood irrigation. In this system of irrigation, the flood water from a river is diverted to the cultivable land by means of canals. As the flood water contains rich alluvial soil or silt, and the fertility of land increases due to this alluvial or silt soil. This becomes a advantageous for cultivators. This is possible during only flood season. This system of irrigation depends completely on the water level of the river. As there is no regulators are provided at the head of the canal, over irrigation is possible, resulting in damaging the crops. Next, advantages of inundation irrigation. The cost of inundation canal is less. This is one of the advantages. Second advantage is, as the water supplied by the inundation canals, silt and fine sand, it will help to improve the fertility of the soil of the agricultural land. Since inundation canal cannot supply water throughout the year, problem of waterlogging usually does not arise. Next, disadvantages of inundation irrigation. The water supply available from this system is variable and reliable. Silting of canal is most common trouble. There are no headwork at the offtake point or at the head of the canal are liable to damage during the flood. These canals will have to be large size to supply the requirement of water within a limited period of time. The supply in these canals being only during the flood seasons. The supply is not regular, which may cause dissatisfaction of the farmers. Duty of water achieved for the inundation system is very low. Next one is the lift irrigation system. When the water is available at lower level than the agricultural land. Here what we are going to do is, water has to be lifted by pumping machines or lifting devices. Thus, this method is called as lift irrigation. Here, lift irrigation, this figure shows the lift irrigation done by the well. Here also a lift irrigation done by the canal system. See, this is also one of the lift irrigation. Here water is available at the lower level. This lower level water can be lifted by mechanical means to the higher level of canal, then distributed to the irrigation field. Advantages of irrigation over flow irrigation. Advantages of lift irrigation over flow irrigation. Well can be supply water whenever needed for irrigation purpose. The water are helpful in reducing the level of water table, thus minimizing the changes of waterlogging. The well supply water directly to the field, thus reducing the losses. The well gives more duty of water. The cost of well irrigation project is less when compared to the canal irrigation, which requires construction of many hydraulic structures like dams or wears, etc. Because of assured supply of water, 2 or 3 crops can be grown in a same field in a year. Advantages of lift irrigation over flow irrigation. Maintenance cost is in flow irrigation is higher than lift irrigation. Water of lift irrigation is cooler in hot season and warmer in cold season, which is favorable for growth of crops. Loss of valuable land is higher in flow irrigation than lift irrigation, as flow irrigation covers larger area in canal network and reservoir area. Next is the disadvantages of lift irrigation over flow irrigation. Water has to be lifted from well. This requires the use of power. Thus, well irrigation is depend on the availability and efficient working of machines. In dry or winter season, water table falls considerably below the suction head. Hence, pump may fail to lift water from the underground. But in flow irrigation or of perennial type or with stored reservoir, water is available in all the season of years. The quantity of water in case of lift irrigation depends upon the groundwater storage. The water in the well does not contain any useful salt and fine silt, which are beneficial to the growth of crops. The canal water in this respect is better. Yield of crop in flow irrigation is more than the lift irrigation of water. Next one is the multiple choice question. You must answer. First question is the pharma land or pharma is divided into series of strips is called option A border strip method, option B sprinkler irrigation method, option C furrow irrigation method, option D none of the above. Answer is A border strip method. Next question is which method of irrigation is carrying the irrigation water through pipes and water is allowed to trickle in the root zone? Option A sprinkler irrigation, option B drip irrigation, option C furrow irrigation, option D basin method. Option B means drip irrigation. Third question, irrigation in which water is available for all the month of year is called inundation irrigation, perennial irrigation, non-perennial irrigation, none of the above. Answer is B means perennial irrigation. Fourth question, inundation irrigation also called as flood irrigation, perennial irrigation, both A and B, none of the above. Option A inundation irrigation also called as flood irrigation. Question number 5, water is available at lower level than agricultural land. Suitability of irrigation system is flow irrigation. Next option is lift irrigation. Next option is perennial irrigation. Next option is none of the above. Option B is the answer, means lift irrigation. These are our team in preparing the content. Thank you one and all. If any suggestions, please write us to lms.dtek@gmail.com. Thank you one and all.